Okay, so we are recording and good to go. So, once again, everybody, thanks so much for joining today on Labor Day. I know that, like I previously, you probably have way better things to do, and I don't believe that this will take up much of your time at all. I'm thinking maybe 20 minutes. So, essentially, just wanted to get everybody or whoever could join together to discuss best practices for ENGL099 regarding the MFLs and also regarding just accepting the work like we normally do. So I'm just going to pop and share my screen. Just a second here.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yes, I can hear you. Who has joined us?
Austin. I am here. I got a brand new computer, so I'm trying to figure it out still. But...
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, we hear you, so thanks for joining.
Okay.
Okay, so those of you who are on the screen share, you can see that I am just in an ENGL099 class. Just want to basically walk through some things here. As far as the MFLs, the very first thing that you're going to want to do is to activate the My Foundation Lab. So those of you who have already taught ENGL099 have already done this, but just for the sake of going over it once more, you're just going to select the Instructor Resources tab, which will take you over to the MFL. And then to select Course Home Settings. And into the Course Home Settings, the MFL will be activated. You can go cancel, and it'll take you to the home page. And now this MFL section has been activated. Simple. It is very, very important that this occurs because that'll open up the MFL section for the students to be able to take the path. Once that is completed, you can just X out of that tab. One other thing I did just want to bring to your attention regarding the MFL is the dashboard. Something that was added last term, and because I am not the instructor, I'm not going to see it. Analytics dashboard will help you to get a better look at your class at an overall level. Within the MFL right now, as those of you who have taught it before, you know that it is not the greatest as far as getting a look at where your class is overall. So this dashboard will help you to take a look at those analytics and to better determine where some of your students may need some additional help. So it's a new tool that is available to you. And once more, that is, oops, I got out of the class. Instructor Resources tab right above Course Home Settings. Okay, that's an additional tool for you to utilize to help your class as best as possible. So once you have activated the MFL, that is good to go. Since we're on the topic, I just want to discuss the entering of the MFL grade into Blackboard. Since we do not currently have a way to get an overall grade from the MFL per module, we are taking the overall grade, as all of you, I'm sure, are now aware. What we'll do is I will send out to instructors that are teaching 099 for this term, I will send out some instructions on where to get this overall grade, but the gist of me bringing this up is just to say that it is incredibly important that we are updating the MFL grade every week when we're updating our grades. So we can see the overall column. We're going to take that overall My Foundations Lab grade and pop it into the appropriate cell, but it is absolutely imperative that this is being updated weekly so that students have an accurate portrayal of what their grade is. I will be the first one to denote that I understand that the overall score is not the best way to represent what the students have earned in the My Foundations Lab work, but for now it is what we have, and it's just a good way to be able to give students a snapshot into how much work they've done in the MFL and where their overall grade standing is, so that their overall Blackboard grade can then be affected by the work they've done in the MFL. Are there any questions on the My Foundation Lab work as it stands currently?
Lauren, I have a quick question, Catherine. And you and I have talked about this before, but to be clear again, we're penalizing students for work they don't complete, correct?
Correct. And so that's kind of what the rub is with that overall column. So those of you who have not taught English 199 previously, the overall grade, it gives a snapshot of what the students have completed in the MFL currently, but it does not incorporate or average in any zeros for work that they have not completed. So you could have a student that has completed one module and earned 100, a student that has completed all 7 modules but perhaps earned low scores on all 7 modules, and essentially that student who has completed one module that earned 100 will then receive a 100 in the Blackboard gradebook, whereas the student that has completed 7 modules poorly will receive a lower grade. So it is certainly not our best case scenario. I encourage each of you, if you, in the course of just walking through the MFLs and using the dashboard, if you see something that you feel will be better, put to better use than just using the overall column, please bring that up to me. We have gone to Pearson to ask for some additional assistance on this, but we just have not received any answers. So right now, this is what we're using. It's not the best, but it's something. So yes, the zeros are not being incorporated currently.
I continue to get students who are just completely flummoxed by, trying to figure out how much work they've done and how much work they have left to do. These are students, obviously, who are super conscientious and want to try to complete all the modules. But I don't know. I hope this is okay. I continue to tell them that as long as I'm seeing, regular progress being made, that's the most important, and obviously then the overall score gets imported. But I try, just because they seem stressed out by it, I try to kind of calm them down by just saying, don't worry about, making sure everything's done. Just worry about making sure they're doing it on a regular basis. Is that okay with you?
I think that is an awesome approach, and I think that's the approach that we should be taking with this. MFL is kind of, like the Skinner theory of the black box. MFL is kind of like a black box to us. We have a great view on what happens inside it. We don't have a great way to see what the student is seeing. We don't have a great way to see how much they've completed and what they have left. So in order to quell some of that anxiety, I wholeheartedly do think that we should be telling these students, just keep on working hard. As long as I'm seeing progress, as long as you're still completing the other work in the Blackboard portion of the course, then you'll be okay for that portion. I definitely think that that's going to be the best way to go about this, because if students are having anxiety regarding the MFL, then that's going to just stop their tracks from wanting to succeed, because it may become too overwhelming. So I certainly absolutely love that approach. So yes, and I will, since everybody will be hearing this call at some point, I do want everybody to do the same as far as that is concerned.
A question. Can you hear me? Hi. I'm wondering if since it's so problematic in the MFL counts for 35% of the grade, and since 84% is a no pass, it's really for students to mess that up and slip into the no pass zone. And maybe we should count the MFL for less points in the weight of the overall grade.
It's definitely something that we have looked at. Unfortunately, the grade allocation is beyond my control. If we continue to still have issues where we're seeing students fail because of the MFL, I'll certainly campaign to bring that up. But currently, and this is just based on the experience that I have seen, if students are completing the work in Blackboard, they're trying really hard, I do think that they are doing okay in MFL. Just doing the basic navigation. Have you seen differently in your section?
I guess across the board, I just did 99 for the first time last session. And there were a handful of students who the MFL dips them into, the low 80s, the high 70s. And, they would normally have passed, but with the 85% cutoff, they didn't. Okay.
For those types of situations, definitely bubble them up to the surface, and then I will get with their academic advisor to see what we can do. I understand that if it is across the board, it could be just, I don't want to say annoying, but work to bubble that up, but I do think that it's important just so that I can work with the advisor on that to just say, hey, this individual is having trouble with the MFL. let's work to get them passing. So if we do have students that are in that really close range, let me know, let the advisor know so that we can kind of pull them through. But I definitely know where you're going and what you're saying with the MFL piece. Having it be at 35% definitely is difficult since, that can essentially fail them in a way. But this did go up to our brand new CEO last week. It is not falling on deaf ears. Very moved by the fact that we don't know a lot about this and that we're trying really hard to know a lot about it, and that it's not exactly serving our students as well as it originally intended. So, I can't really speak to the lifespan of the MFL because I'm not certain, but do know that the CEO has been aware, and he knows that this is not serving our students as well as it should be. So.
Thanks.
Lauren, do you authorize discretion in terms of, I haven't done this, but I've been tempted, and I'm not talking about this like rounding up from a 0.5 up, I'm talking about like Austin just mentioned, going from a 80 all the way up to an 85 just to give them a passing. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Is that an absolute no?
Oh, that's a toughie. Let me just say that I in no way condone passing students for the sake of passing. However,
I've just been thinking about those situations, that was often that just mentioned. So you see just working their butt off, right? And they're the ones who've done all 7 modules or however many, and it's just by virtue of the difficulty of, I don't know.
Okay, so
I've wrestled with it.
And I 100% understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate bringing it up. Let's get an approach here. So, all right, so we have a student that's done all 7 modules, which in itself is kind of a miracle. We know that they're self-starters. We know that they're working really hard. They have scored really low on a module, say sentence structure. I completely condone and love the idea of perhaps giving them an alternative assessment to replace that MFL grade that might be sinking their overall grade lower. So if you earned a 30% in the sentence structure module, that's really tanking their overall average. I think perhaps providing them with a different assignment to replace that really low grade, sort of get them back up into passing, to give them a little bump without writing, I think is a good idea. Do you have something that would help?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of it. I don't like the idea of me having to come up with an alternative assessment, but.
Yeah, and I mean, that could be something, what's in the old ENGL099 course, honestly. So,
oh, yeah.
I want to see what was in the previous course, and then if there's an assignment that then we can tap into that. I'm just trying to think of a way to provide students with the opportunity to still succeed, but kind of unshackle them from the
and increase the attempts that they're permitted, but then I just feel like they're gaming this, actually if they're taking it 15 and 20 times, right, and they're still not passing it, it just seems like they're gaming the system, and then it's not functioning the way it's supposed to. But.
Right. And I don't think that increasing the attempts is a bad thing. I think it's definitely a good thing because students hopefully are learning from the mistakes that they're making. But you're definitely correct. At some point, increasing attempts is just going to help them get an answer and know what to put in the right answer for the sake of passing and the sake of just completing it, as opposed to saying. So it is definitely a conundrum, and I am more than happy to entertain ideas as far as how to make it better. All of you seeing a particular area that students are perhaps not succeeding in, that we can perhaps provide them with a different assignment to help boost their overall average? No. Or is it basically just across the board? I think it's pretty much across the board. But here's another thing that another point that I really wanted to make sure that we touched upon today is in the previous 099 course, it was sort of a given, and then for any pre-college course, it's a given that students can resubmit work for a high grade. And I think that this is going to be the key for success in 099, so that we're not running into these situations of having students at an 83 and really wanting to help them out. I think that if we're giving students the opportunity to redo any assignments in which they score an 85 or lower, that the students that really are, again, self-starters, that are really motivated, that really want to do well, that want to study and practice, that they'll have that opportunity to obtain a higher grade. And so this is not instructor discretion. This should be something that is occurring across the board. In pre-college, we should be giving students the opportunity to redo and resubmit assignments for a higher grade.
Well, I find out more.
Understand that it is going to be essentially more work for the instructor with the additional grading. However, given that this is a pre-college course, it is an ideology that we should be subscribing to and following. Do you all think that would be helpful as far as success in the Blackboard-based work?
Definitely. I mean, I've been doing it already, but
I'll run you over.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Yeah, I agree. That's also my policy anyway. Nevertheless, a lot of students have to take me up on that offer.
Oh, I totally understand that. I think that just once they see the grade, if they think that it's even marginally acceptable, then they won't get it. But yeah, I understand it's like this, you can drag a horse to water type of thing. But I understand. I guess the only thing we have to do is just really tap into their motivation and kind of be their cheerleaders to take advantage of the situation. So, or like take advantage of the opportunity that they've been given to recomplete that work with guidance. Because essentially, I know that you guys give awesome and really robust feedback. So if they're just doing the corrections based on your feedback, they're essentially given the keys to success. So I think if we may highlight the fact that they just need to read the paper, really take your comments into consideration, ask questions if need be, and then recomplete the work, that they'll be able to pass.
That seems great. So, I did have a question, Lauren.
Yes.
I'm teaching this course. I'm not the primary for this term. I'm just curious what the co-instructor's responsibilities are intersecting with the My Foundations lab, or if that's just from the primary instructor's responsibility, or...
Yeah, so the My Foundations lab is essentially, for the instructor, all it entails is taking the overall grade and entering into the grade book. Since the section is in the primary instructor's name, it's the primary instructor's access that will allow them to get into the grade book. So as the co-teacher, your main responsibilities will lie outside of the MFL.
Okay, just kind of I'm assisting with the other stuff. Got it.
Exactly, yeah.
All right.
I did a breakdown of work. Early to mid last week, I emailed that to everybody teaching 099 this term. So everybody who is teaching 099 at this point does have a breakdown of how the co-teacher and main teacher structure will work for those of you that it affects. So I essentially have covered my two pieces regarding the activation of the MFL as well as the resubmission of work and sort of the becoming a cheerleader to the students. I understand that all of us do this anyways, but in a pre-college setting, it is, these students are already they're sort of already coming to us a little bit behind in their success. So we want to really just make them feel like success is possible. I think in a lot of pre-college scenarios, are lacking the self-confidence that it'll take to succeed. So a little bit of a pinch of extra compassion, I think will go a long way with these students. And I know that this is nothing that you already aren't doing, but I think just being reminded of it sometimes is helpful. So at this point, are there any questions from the listeners? And I'd be happy to entertain those, and then I'll get you on your way.
I have a question that was related to the course, but I'm just not sure. Where PDF chapters of the textbook made available, or not? Because the ones on Blackboard are outdated.
The book is actually an ebook for this course, and so the ebook is accessed through the Weeks tab. If you go to Weeks, the book is the very first thing that the students will see. You click on Pearson eText, it will launch right in the browser.
Okay.
And students do not have a hard copy book, so all chapters of the book are always immediately available to them.
Excellent. All right. I was not aware. I'm
Oh, no worries. Question. Catherine, Kevin, anything from you guys?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too. This is really helpful though.
Okay, I'm really glad. I kind of cycle between not to bother you guys and then also wanting to have a really good relationship. So I'm glad that everybody was able to join today, especially on the holiday. But of course, if you have any questions after we hang up, please feel free to email me. After breaking my arm and having a really brutal beginning half of the year, I have no vacation or sick time left, so I will be here every single day for the rest of the year. So if you need me, I will be here. Thanks so much, you guys. Have an awesome rest of your day, and have a really, really great September start. I'll be in touch soon.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.